Formula E kicks off its 11th season of the All-Electric Championship here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Welcome to the Sao Paulo Street Circuit, a total of 2.933 kilometers, 11 turns in total. Turn 1, a downhill braking zone as well after the strip, into an overtaking zone as well. Turn 3 is your attack mode. Turn 5, very tight chicane. That is very much an incident zone on the circuit. You've got to be very careful there as it backs up on itself. Down at turn 10, that's where we saw the race-winning overtake, the last lap as well. Sam Bird right round the outside, taking victory in what is an awesome move. Attack mode at turn 3 is going to be crucial in the race as well. Well, Sao Paulo is a wonderful city and it's a wonderful atmosphere as Formula E returns for the third time, sambering on the streets here of the Sambadrome. Welcome to round 1 of the season. And it's a championship that will range here on the 7th of December before going over to Mexico City on the 11th of January. 14th and 15th of February sees a doubleheader, this time at the Jeddah Corniche circuit for a month's break. Going over then to Miami on the 12th of April. Doubleheaders then in Monaco on the 3rd or 4th of May. 17th and 18th take us to Tokyo, Japan. And then we're back at the end of May, beginning of June for Shanghai. Jakarta is a single header round before Berlin takes us to a double the 12th and 13th of July. And it all rounds out in London's XL on the 26th and 27th of July. A 16-round calendar for the 11th year of ABB FIA Formula E.
It would help if I was not on mute. Welcome along to the first round of ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. It is shaping up to be a fantastic season. The first season in a while where it starts a year early, 2024, a month before it starts again back in January. We start off at the brilliant Sao Paulo circuit, which is absolutely beautiful for racing. We saw Sam Bird last season take a win, which was really, really close indeed. So it should be all in all exciting. Make sure you keep an eye on what's going to be going on throughout the season. We've got me covering Formula E, whilst Joshua Birch covers the F2 Championship finale, because that is equally more important. But you can still watch us for Formula E for qualifying. It is a very interesting grid lineup. We've got plenty of rookies. Zane Maloney making his debut in Formula E. Taylor Barnard is making his full-time season debut as well. So this is going to be... well, it's going to be the unknowns. In the free practice 2, we saw the likes of Jade Dennis take top free practice 2, and also the Andretti did well in free practice 1. And whilst we wait for all the action to go on, and whilst we sort out our cameras, let's take you through into the world feed and hear from our presenting team. If it will work, hold on, I need to help if it will unmute. There we go. For some reason, it's not working, so if you just give us a... there we go.
Our 2 on P2 and P4. And especially very impressive when you compare the lap times to season 10. We were in the morning already in the free practice sessions 3 seconds quicker than the pole position time in season 10. Impressive what these cars are able to do, and looking forward to qualifying.
Absolutely, and I know we're looking to the future, but it must have been a big moment for you personally also to see one of your drivers become world champion. What were your emotions like last year in London?
Yeah, this was hard work, was our clear target, and then for me it was also impressive how we managed, how we did it in London, because we were arriving there with some points we need to catch up. And then 2 impressive race days under high pressure and well executed by the whole team, also by Pascal on track. Always stayed calm and grabbed the chance when it was there. And for the for the team, for Porsche, to collect in a single-seater series of FIA World Championship is amazing.
Fantastic. Well, all the best for today and for the rest of the season. Thank you very much, Florian.
Thank you.
Well, always good to hear from Florian modelling there in good spirits ahead of the start of this season. Now, I don't know whether you can see behind me, but on the other side of the pit lane, we have the Jaguar garage, who might still be thinking about a season that could have been. James, what does team principal James Barkley have to do differently this year?
Well, in my opinion, he needs to get a real handle on his drivers. He's got two incredible talents in that garage, but as we saw last year, letting them fight compromised everything and allowed Porsche and Pascal to snatch the championship away from them. I think a different approach is needed.
A different approach, easier said than done though, because, you know, he always said that I just had to let the drivers race because he wanted to get the best out of them. As soon as you start controlling them, one of them would have not, well, probably would have kicked off. So how do you do that?
From what I saw, they tried to control them a little bit last year, but that's the problem. It was only a little bit. Either you let them race all out for the whole season, you know, no holes barred, let them go for it, or, you know, you control the whole narrative. You allow them to only overtake each other when they're given the orders, and you really control the outcome of your championship.
And very quickly, what can we expect in qualifying?
Excitement, a lot of excitement coming up. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Well, it was Pascal Wehrlein on pole position here last year. So will he continue on that streak? I'm not sure. There's a very strong grid of drivers ready to take that coveted position and 3 points of pole position. Let's go to Ben Edwards and Andre Lotterer in commentary.
Thank you so much. A new decade of racing in Formula E, kicking off at the heart of a city in Brazil, which has a tremendous heritage in motorsport. The Anhembi Sambadrome in Sao Paulo, just steps away from where the late, great Ayrton Senna grew up on his way to becoming a multiple Formula One world champion. And now we're getting ready for the first part of qualifying.
Yes, we are. The tension is building here in Sao Paulo as we're about to get going for Group A. I was sorting out all the cameras in the background whilst we were waiting for stuff to get going. So you got myself, Jess Ball, in the commentary box. And joining us for the first time, it's not Joshua Birch, it is Ed Hunter. Ed, Formula E's back.
Yeah, apparently our esteemed lead commentator was too busy covering free practice and Formula 2. Apparently, as a Formula 2 championship decided that Zane Maloney's missing. I think he made the right decision. Sao Paulo's going to be great. 11 teams, 22 drivers looking to do battle at the Sambadrome for the season opener, and lots of new stuff to get to grips with. But qualifying, we're going to see everyone at four-wheel drive, full power. All-wheel drive, I should say. So very, very exciting.
Yeah, I've been excited for this. I think it's been a huge honour for us to cover this qualifying session. Josh has trusted us that we would do a good job. So, Group A, we've got David Bettman in the Cairo. We've got Sam Burden, McLaren, Lucas de Grassi in the Lola Yamaha, Antonio Villas Acosta in the Porsche, Sebastian Bremy in Vision Racing, Nick de Vries, Mahindra Racing, and I didn't see the rest of we will go through actually the rest of the grid. We've got Nick de Vries, Ollie Rowland, John Etvan, Jay Dennis, Nick Cassidy, and Jay Hughes. Jay Dennis topped free practice too. So I would say out of this group, as well as Antonio Villas Acosta, those two could be the favourite.
Yeah, certainly. Beckman in the, I believe it's pronounced Kiro, not Cairo. Cairo, I believe, is the place in Egypt.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the Cupra Kiro, as they're recently tied up, of course, with the Volkswagen Audi Group manufacturer, of course, that used to partner up with Abt, but it was mainly sort of visual sponsorship, whereas this one, because Porsche powering those cars, is a little bit more behind it, whereas Abt were using Mahindra powertrains last year, recently switched to Lola, of course. Lola have bought that entry, of course, so we know Mark Preston has been on our show before, obviously. Yes. A big fan, and so we'll be wishing them the best. Their first return to Formula E paddock after 2 years away is a big story, of course. But in terms of this qualifying session, we got Sam Bird, who won here last year. We got Da Costa, who was on pole here last year. We got Nick Cassidy, who always goes really, really well here. And then we got the likes of Buemi, Vern, Roland. This is a really, really strong first group. The second group has a couple of big hitters and then a bit more sort of question marks over the rest, I think. Whereas this group is pretty stacked.
Yeah, it is a stacked group. And don't forget, the Fast Four will make it through to the Duels. from each group, so we should have 8 for each duel. And we'll get your predictions in the chat as well. We got quite a few people in the chat. We've got SHT saying it's time. Yes, it is time. I'm absolutely buzzing for this as we're seeing the cars out on the circuit properly for the first time. What's going to be exciting later on after the E3, we get to cover the press conference, which we never get to do. So we are ramping it up in Formula E coverage here this season because we are an accredited outlet for Formula E. Thanks to Josh, of course. So without Josh, this wouldn't have happened, of course. We've got a bit of switcheroo from some of the cars there, it seems, Ed, in the circuit. That was Lucas Di Grassi, I think.
I think that was Sam Bird just getting out of Di Grassi's way there. Di Grassi, of course, in the low. That looks like Jake Dennis isn't on a push lap in front of him as Di Grassi, obviously being the first to go for a 350 kilowatt lap, goes purple in the first sector, unsurprisingly though. But a big test here for Lola, of course. They'll really want to show up strong. Di Grassi is starting off his home race of the season, will want to make a big impression. I'm not a big fan of Di Grassi, I'll be completely honest with you, Jess, but so I'm not too invested.
I like the livery, though. I like the Lola livery.
It is a brilliant livery.
Yeah, but Lucas Di Grassi has caused a bit of drama in. Will I be able to get the radio in time? Hang on.
I think it's gone, Jess.
Oh no, I was late. He was impeded. I was too late. But yeah, apparently Di Grassi complained that he was impeded.
Okay, by Sam Bird, or possibly Dennis there as well.
Yes.
Anyway, he's going to set the fastest time for now, 1:13.8, but that's going to be quickly beaten, you would think, as Di Grassi is probably going to do a cool down lap now because the way in Formula E, especially with the new tyres as well, because Hankook have provided not so much a slick tyre. There's still the grooves. It's still an all-weather tyre, but it's a little bit softer. It gives a little bit more peak performance, but is a little bit more prone to wearing out more quickly. So you see Sam Bird has set it very, very slow first time, and now he's doing his push lap.
Yep, Sam Bird, of course, being held on for McLaren. Won here last year, but now with the Gen 3 Evo cars, which, in my opinion, does look very nice. But what difference is it going to make with those cars plus the new tyres? We'll find out, of course. It's going to be very difficult in places like Mexico and Jeddah as well. We're going to Jeddah instead of Diriyah this season. We know Ed has a strong opinions about that.
Oh, joy.
So we know that he's not going to be covering that this season, like last season. If he does,
can't
I'll be
make me
very
guess.
surprised. If he does, I'll be very surprised.
There's no money in the world you could pay me to talk or care about Saudi Arabia. in any
Exactly.
possible way.
So there we go. Lucky you got me. I'll try and make sure I'm available.
This message
for
brought to you by PIF. Yes.
But there we go. So it's that Sam Bird, purple in both sectors. Thus far, 1 second quicker than his previous best. He now tops the timing sheets so far. And we also got Lucas Di Grassi in second. No one else has set a representative lap times yet, so it's hard to gauge on who's fastest in this session already.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. We're sort of expecting 110s, 111s to be the sort of outright fastest pace, but from what we saw in practice, they were going about 2 seconds a lap quicker than last year. And this is Di Grassi clearing Sam Bird. That seemed to be. It might have put him off a little bit for his braking into the first corner, but yeah, I think Di Grassi wasn't too badly impeded there. I think he's just, as usual for Lucas Di Grassi, making a big fuss over nothing.
Yeah, it looks like it wasn't that bad, and he could have got a bit of a slipstream there, but he's had a bit of a slide, of course.
It might have been Dennis holding him up a bit more later, but I wasn't paying attention.
It might be Dennis, but we do get the race control messages, and we haven't had any come through in terms of like impeding. So I think they should be fine unless they're going to impede later on. Oh, we got Dave Beckman, who one of the rookies, slots himself into third place by only 6 seconds off the pace. What's your take in the rookies of this session, Beckman? I don't know what to think of him. How's he going to approach his first Formula E season in a while?
Well, it's an interesting one because there was an article because Kira were very, very late announcing their drivers. Literally a couple of days before the race, they finally actually confirmed it was going to be David Beckman, who goes purple in the first sector, and Dan Ticktum, of course. But Sergio Stella Camara, who of course lost his seat to David Beckman, has been very, very vocal in the press saying Kira has handled it in the most unprofessional way I've ever seen a team do. So he clearly thinks that Porsche providing their sort of powertrain to the Kiro team as they're they're now customer team rather than manufacturer as they were the last couple of seasons with Neo and ERT respectively. He clearly feels that Beckman being a Porsche driver, he of course competed for the Porsche Andretti team, filling in for Andre Lotterer at Jakarta season 9 a couple of seasons ago. As Jake Hughes is going even quicker in the Maserati. Of course, he's another driver that's been on the move from McLaren to Maserati. As Beckman goes 2/10 slower than Sam Bird then. So a pretty good first lap on the board. Yeah, it is, especially we know obviously the Kiro's going to be strong at this phase of the season. There's the two
the timings are changing quite quickly. John Verne goes fast. Then we got Jake Hughes in second, obviously moved from McLaren to his now new team. I wonder if that's going to make a difference. We got Nick Cassidy on the lap. Green set to 1. He's not showing signs of improving in sector 2, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Dennis Fastest, the one who topped FP2, of course, and is looking 4/10 per second ahead. Wow.
Yeah, qualifying was a big weakness for Andretti last season. They never quite seemed... First couple of races was very up and down, but they never quite seemed to get on top of things thereafter. Da Costa goes second now in his factory Porsche, so that really tells us immediately off the bat that Porsche look pretty strong, but we've yet to really see the best of the Jaguars yet. Me in 5th behind the two DS and Maserati. They're basically both DS-powered cars, essentially. As we see Nick Cassidy about to start his first flying lap, so this will be a big one for him.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone out just yet to start one of his first laps. He's probably a little bit behind, preferred to anybody else, but Lucas Di Grassi now is in the middle of the middle sector. As he's got another car behind him as well. Hopefully he's on an outlap, the Mahindra car. I think that might be Jake Hughes, I believe, who's...
It is, yeah.
So, yeah, we're starting to get to the livery. I'm starting to get used to liveries as we get through. Because obviously, of course, we watched a bit of free practice too. Picture, I believe, is John Verne, who's in the middle of this.
That's Cassidy.
Oh, no, that is Cassidy. Oh, it looks like a Penske, but it's not a Penske.
Is it because of the little gold on the right-hand side? So Jaguar have got the gold on the right-hand side, white on the left-hand side.
Yeah, but it looked like a Penske, but it was not. So why are you doing this? I know Josh is going to complain when he comes in the pit lane later on.
How about you just ask me which one it is, and I'll tell you.
I should know because they got the team logos, so I should know.
The reason I know is because I built all the cars out of Lego. And
yeah, you have. Well, you get to see that in the E3 later. De Costa, P2, who slots himself into that. Ollie Rowland goes second, another driver that's done very well this weekend so far in both practice sessions.
Topped FP1, I believe, and was right up there in FP2 as well earlier this morning. Of course, the grandstands look a little bit empty in the background, by the way, but let's keep in mind it is 9:50 in the morning over there in Sao Paulo, so a lot of people are probably still trying to make their way to the track as we see Verne just sliding it into the penultimate corner, which is where Sam Bird made that famous move on Mitch Evans to win at the end of the final lap in the race last season. Verne goes up to 3rd ahead of Antonio Felix da Costa. Di Grassi goes up to 6th, just 10th shy of Nick Cassidy, who of course is 81 thousandths off of getting into the duels at the present moment then. So it's very, very tight, quite spread out within the top 4. And 4 different teams, of course, with all the drivers in this section being from different teams. So that would be the case no matter what. But 3 different powertrains, Porsche, Nissan, and DS.
Yep, and we're seeing, I think, the usual protagonists in the top 4, I would say. Biggest shocker, I would say, would be Cassidy and Bremy that are out at the moment of the Duels. But I just see someone else improve. Dennis improved on this time as well. Da Costa stays second. So, yeah, at the moment in the drop zone, it's Cassidy, Bremy, Di Grassi, Bird, Hughes, Bettman, and De Vries. Has got radio quickly.
Let's call this lap. Struggling out here, bro.
You wouldn't think it.
Well, talking about tires. So...
Yeah, you've tried to think you'll be struggling out there, Ed, as you were saying.
It was the tyres. So it was what I was talking about earlier with the softer compounded tyres. Dennis has put a really, really quick lap in. And now he's saying there's nothing left in these. We've probably got to change them if we can. Or, maybe not go out again, potentially. So that could put, if the track is ramping up, that puts Andretti in a difficult position here.
Yep, indeed. A few people were asking how people can watch Formula E. You can on TNT Sport. I think it's on TNT Sport 4 at the moment in the UK. And also for the first time, live on free-to-air ITV. But it's not going to be on television. It's on the ITVX platform on the website. It is free.
Yeah.
So you can watch it online on ITVX.
Go there, look for the channel ITV Sport on
ITV Sport on ITVX. If you're in the UK and want to watch that, there's a bit of a slide there from, I think,
Beckman.
Someone in the chat saying ABT and Lola look really similar, which they do. They really do. It's
ABT and Lola. You mean Lola?
ABT and Cairo. That's it. Yeah. They look very similar with the yellow. If by the way, if you're not in the UK and you want to watch Formula E, I have no idea. Don't ask us.
There is a website, Formula E's website, that does list all the different places that are broadcasting it. As we see speed, brake, and regen graphic on John Vern's DS Penske that tells you how much energy he's regenerating. Of course, that's going to be more relevant come the race, of course. As you see, there we go, full on the brake, and he goes very, very deep, actually. So I think this is him going back to the pit lane then. So checkered flag is out.
Oh, it is
we'll have
out.
to see
Yeah.
Okay, Vern isn't improving in any of his sectors, so I think he's probably going to go to the pit lane, and he is the one on the bubble at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody behind is gearing up for a final effort, or everyone had the same issue that Jake Dennis had, where the tyres were just losing grip and peak performance. Let's see Jake Hughes coming to the line now for Maserati.
Here he comes in. Can he make it through to the Duels? The answer to that is... No, Hughes is out. Bettman is out. So is Degrassi. Bird, last season's race winner around here, could be knocked out as well. He goes up to the line. He's also out. We got Nick De Vries, Nick Cassidy. Bremy's improving on his time. So John O'Vern could be a bit worrying at the moment. So Bremy down on sector 2. But can Bremy improve? Nope, he just misses out. So it's just Nick Cassidy and Nick De Vries. De Vries also misses out. Da Costa goes into the pit lane. Can Cassidy improve? We'll have to wait and see.
No.
Cassidy, no. So John O'Vern could breathe a sigh of relief because he's through to the Duels. So the ones through to the Duels are Jake Dennis, Felix Da Costa, Ollie Rowland, and John O'Vern.
Yeah, I wonder if Cassidy was struggling with the tyres as losing grip after being worn out from the earlier laps there. So he misses out by a 10th in the end. And he was 4 tenths down on that final effort as well. So, obviously not the end of the world for Jaguar. It will put him probably about 8th or 9th on the grid. That's not an unwinnable position for a race like Sao Paulo, where we know there could well be quite a bit of energy saving. Of course, there is used to be called Attack Charge. I think the new name they came up for it was Pit Boost, which is the fast charging pit stops. That's going to come in for the double headers, but not for the season open. So I think Jeddah will be the first time that it gets used. Not that I will cease. So you have to tell me how it goes afterwards. But but anyway, but yeah, interesting first session. As you say, sort of the usual suspects. The 2 Porsche powertrains of Andretti, Jake Dennis, and Antonio Felix Da Costa just sneaking through at the end there with Roland and the other driver. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? Is Jev, who also made it through, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jev just squeaked through as well, and he was in the pits, but he didn't improve as well, so he was very, very lucky. But whilst we wait for the session to go, luckily, because we have the media centre, we get to hear from Ben Edwards and the commentary team there. Let's hand it over to them.
And I do wonder how much the team can learn. See what Jake has to say.
Are we in? Yes, mate, P1. Bit of a turnaround from London, that. But yeah, mate, welcome back. Yeah.
Is that relief, Andre?
Sounds like. I think, as a driver, you want to start the season strong and confident and not on the back foot. And this is always a great sign to come into a new season and perform well and be the fastest. It's just so much about confidence for the drivers.
I'm surprised that the team hadn't given him more information. He found out when he was in the pit lane at the end of the session that it was fastest and through. I mean, talk about leaving a driver out there.
Normally you get that information quite early after the last cars cross the finish line. Your engineer tells you, but maybe they were busy talking about other things. I don't know.
Let's have a look at this then. Jake Dennis taking that fastest lap for Andretti ahead of Antonio Felix Da Costa by a 10.5. Oliver Rowland in 3rd place and Jean-Eric Verd. They are the 4 that are going through. And it was interesting hearing from Jake Dennis saying, oh, that was better than London. He was 21st on the grid for that last race in London. The one before he'd actually been 10th on the grid, but it has been 6 races since he has managed to get into the duel. So for Jake Dennis, that is a very, very key start to this all-new season. season that's taking place in Formula E. Oh, there's a big celebration there down at the DS Penske team as Jean-Eric Vergne has made it into the top 4 and he's delighted with that. The 2 times Formula E champion, and we will see how he gets on.
Yeah, we'll see how they get on as we're about to start Group B's session, as we've got Pascal Wehrlein, Stoffel van Dorn, Robin Freins, Taylor Barnard, Maximilian Gunther, Mitch Evans, Norman Natter, Jose Maloney, Dan Ticktum, Eduardo Mortara and Nico McMillan. We'll see which of those 4 will make it through to the duels. A lot of rookies in this one, Ed. I'm really excited to see how they do.
Yeah, of course, the remaining rookies, of course, like Zane Maloney, for instance, in the Lola. He's probably got the biggest job because he's coming in cold just from pre-season testing. He was literally doing Formula 2 in Qatar last week as well. So, and he's giving up his title shot there to do this. There he is, just pulling out behind Taylor Barnard, another of our rookies. Of course, did a couple of races, 3 races in the last season at Monaco and the 2 Berlin rounds, where he did score points for McLaren, filling in for Sam Bird when he had his hand injury last season. So this is obviously a big opportunity for Taylor Barnard, full-time McLaren seat, obviously big, illustrious name in the world of motorsport, and Taylor Barnard looking to make an impression there. Stoffel van Dorn, another former pole sitter here in Sao Paulo, in the moving over to Maserati from DS Penske. So him and Gunther have basically swapped seats for this season. So it's obviously similar hardware, not necessarily the same software, and of course, completely different team in terms of their culture and the way that they operate as well. So it'd be interesting to see how Van Dorn and Gunther bed into their new squads. And we also see Norman Nato returning to Nissan, the team that he got a couple of podiums with. He then, of course, went to Andretti, got sacked by Andretti in favor of Nico Müller, and then ended up getting hired by Nissan in the place of Sasha Fenestraz, of course. Yeah, big movers there as we see Da Costa looking, a little bit satisfied, I think. No, I think he maybe would hope to be a little bit quicker and on the pace of Jake Dennis, but he seems like keeping his cards pretty close to his chest then. We'll have to see how he goes in the duels.
Yeah.
As we see Dennis also looking over the data of his engineers, very, very happy to get back into the duels because he's not done it in, as Ben Edwards was saying in commentary, about 6 races, wasn't it? And we were in London trackside and we saw he had those horrible races, Jess.
Yeah, he did.
Crashed into everyone at least twice. This was his Zane Maloney. Seems to have started his push lap.
He got loads of penalties, I remember, Jake Dennis, and he qualified really low down the grid. But here is Zane Maloney making his FE debut. He was meant to be in Formula 2 for the championship finale. But, of course, you can't miss Formula E. Here he comes.
Unless
then.
you're Josh, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's the start of a championship. You want to get a good start. And in the Lola team, of course, Degrassi didn't make it through to the next stage. So he's looking to outshine his teammate. But I think for him, it's just about bedding in. Of course, he had some good testing practice in some circuits and also good free practice times too, as he goes up to the line to start his first run. But again, it will be unrepresentative for now. It's a 1:13.138 for the rookie. We've got more lap times being set from certain drivers, but they're not in a rush to go out there yet, Ed.
Funky camera work there from the Lola Yamaha guy. I believe that's supposed to be Zane Maloney's parents who come to cheer him on, as we see. That looks like Mitch Evans about to start his lap. Evans should be one of the favourites to get through. So this is Cassidy just missed out. And like we said, a very, very heavily stacked group, whereas this one should be a bit more favourable to him. As we see, it looks like Taylor Barnard starting his push lap as well. But yeah.
Someone stopped on the circuit.
Oh, is that Mitch Evans? It is Mitch Evans.
So that's what I think the yellow flag is for. Oh.
Yeah, if he's letting people through, he's certainly...
No, he stopped. He stopped. Hopefully we get a radio from him, so I'm getting prepared to press the unmute button. Does it look like it? Why is they showing a green flag? I don't get... Let's hear for radio. Hold on.
Career brake active.
You were saying Mitch Evans was going to do well in Group B, Ed?
I was saying that there's... in theory, less opposition that could be a bigger challenge to him. But obviously the rear brakes have engaged, so it seems like there's been some sort of issue with that car, and it's sort of emergency gone into sort of shut down there, or the rear brakes are just acting it. Because remember, when this Gen 3, the original Gen 3 car launched, they put in these emergency rear brakes because there were a lot of fears that the cars didn't have rear brakes. All the brakes were at the front, essentially, and so they were worried about massive crashes when if the throttle would get stuck or things like this, essentially. So we started having a couple of times in testing and some scary issues for some of the Jaguar-powered cars. And it seems, the Jaguar have had another technical issue. It's not been unknown to happen to them in the early phases of the season. I seem to remember first race of season 9, Mexico's red flag for Mitch Evans, obviously not able to get going in a pretty dangerous position. So that stops qualifying with 7 minutes left to go on the clock. With, of course, good news for Barnard and Maloney, because they were the first to really get a somewhat representative time in.
Barnard, of course, having the most experience, has done a few Formula E
Evans
races.
is moving again.
Oh, so he's got some car going, luckily. So it's not a terminal issue, thank goodness.
No. Certainly a bit scary. And that will... he's going to have to reset himself. Hope as well that the rear brakes don't engage once he gets to turn 2 and 3 again.
Hopefully he doesn't hit a wall.
No. Well, he's probably not going to hit a wall on the way back because he's coasting and race direction is giving instructions.
Don't need to respect 50 kph limit, please.
Okay.
So 50 kph limit for all the drivers then. So kind of like a virtual safety car, but except it's a red flag. I like the race directors in Formula E on how they communicate with their drivers. It's clear instructions. Maybe certain other series should follow this. It is good.
Yeah, we even had things that we were complaining about. What we have in Formula E, obviously, with street tracks is often if somebody piles it in qualifying, particularly, and you've got 8 or 9 other cars coming around, and Evans has stopped again.
Oh, that's turn 9. Oh, turn 6, sorry, not turn 9.
Yeah, he's on the radio. He seems to have got going again.
Yeah,
so
I forgot to play the radio. I was a bit too late for that one. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm not putting money on Evans getting through out of this one because I think at the moment he's struggling to get back to the pit lane.
He's struggling. Wait. Hold on. Oh, we just missed it. Interesting fact. Oh, he's again. Oh, for goodness sake.
You know,
Any other banners when it trips?
No.
Brings us up here at 535.
So it's reading out the error codes back to the engineers, and then we usually have some different.
Yeah, it looks like it is terminal. My bad. So yeah, Jaguar only missed the duels once last season. I think it'll be their first one already with him, unfortunately. But everyone else is making their way into the pit lane, and it's a little bit of a reset before they go again for their next lap. What's everyone's minds going into this next stage, knowing there's some sort of interruption?
Well, it's certainly going to put them a little bit off because they would have just been hoping to go through their plan, and now their plan's been disrupted. If arguably, actually, it kind of hurts those who did the push laps first because they've got tyres that are in worse condition now than drivers around them, and I don't think they get to change. And looks like whatever numbers they've been punching into that steering wheel, it's got them into limp it home mode, and Evans has got moving again. So he might have to make a decision here because if it shuts down again, he might have to go for the runoff areas. Tictum's on the radio.
Push, cool push. Okay, copy.
I didn't understand what he said because I was there a little bit late, but I'm guessing he was going on all push mode as soon as he starts another lap again. Tictum is at the bottom of the Oh, he stopped again.
Oh no! This is really embarrassing for Jaguar.
Do you want to? Oh, Mitch Evans, is he going to? I think it's going to be a radio. I'll keep an eye on it, but I don't like this red flag nonsense because this is going to delay FE, and that means I'm going to miss the first half of the Formula One because Formula E was meant to finish 5 minutes after Formula One starts.
Well, you got to blame the quality control at Jaguar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was a bit worried it was going to be red flags, and boom, red flags. We're already starting.
We might be able to hear from James Barkley here.
Yeah, let's hear from them.
Mitch out on track at the moment.
What we all only know is what's on the banner at the moment, which is a brake system error. So yeah, we're recycling the car, it resets it, we can go again for a short period of time. So to be honest, it's really hard to work out what that is. It could be a variety of things on the car. Until we get the car back, we can't really assess it. So yeah, a real shame for Mitch and the team. We're looking forward to that one, but that's what happens, and we will get the car back and work through it and go from there.
Do you have any expectation if he will actually be able to get back in this session, or is that his qualifying done?
It's too early to say. If the issue is related to something triggering the rear brakes going on, then the rules are clear. If it isn't, then we maybe have a chance. But I think, yeah, if the activation has been on the rear calipers, then you can't go back out.
And I do just want to touch on Nick. I'm sure he'll be disappointed not to have made it through to the Duels. Last year there was a lot of movement with the peloton style of racing. Do you expect he'll be able to make moves today from there?
Yeah, the first year, obviously, with attack mode being much more impactful, the car, I think, from our perspective, is really efficient. We've seen that, so it's a long race ahead, really, and we never say never as a team, right? We'll always try and race into the points from wherever we are. But, you know, he showed from those positions last year he could fight for wins. I mean, he went from the back to the front last year. Is it going to be the same? No one knows. No one knows. We're in uncharted territory with all the new regulations, but you can rest assured that Nick and the team will be giving our best.
Thank you, James. Appreciate it. We'll let you get back. Back to you, Ben.
So race is going to be starting, well, not race, qualify is going to be starting in 2 minutes, and Mitch Evans is under investigation for failure to follow race director's instructions. Now, what is the race director's
instructions was give up and get off the track.
Yeah, probably in the runoff, I think. And what's the rules with red flag if you cause it in Formula E, Ed? Is it that they're out, or do they have another chance?
It's a weird one because usually they cause it from decking it in the wall.
I think if you go hard speed push, we can exploit pretty much everything from what we have.
So we have.
If I don't mess it up.
So we have out, build, push.
Yeah, so push and make sure he doesn't mess it up, basically. As Mitch Evans is out of the car, and that is his qualifying over. We'll be starting last, it looks like, Ed.
Yeah, almost certainly. Let's hope he actually starts at all, because if there's that rear caliper issue is more serious than we thought, then it could have big consequences for Mitch tomorrow.
I just missed the race director audio, so I did not know what just happened there. But let's look at the replay from Taylor Barnard. Green flag starting time. Okay, yeah. So Taylor Barnard there, P1 at the moment, but how long he's going to stay there? Was P5 in free practice 1 yesterday. Can't remember where he finished in practice 2, but it was a very strong first session from him yesterday. I was really, really proud of what he was able to accomplish thus far. As you can see, Zane Maloney attacking the curves very, very nicely as well. They're both settling in well, but they can't rest on their laurels too much because they still got like another 7 minutes and 16 seconds still to go. But we do not have that long. We are a bit of a delay in TV pictures, so it'll be, I think, 11 minutes past. We're going to start, not 10 minutes past our end. So, yeah, we've got 2 pictures on the go. That's why our pictures have to be delayed. But we're doing it well. We've got it synced with the media centre. We've got audio. It is great so far. But we are about to get going, and we may see another upset apart from Evans that will get knocked out. Oh, as we lost TV pictures.
Right, time to turn on ITVX again then.
Yeah, anyway. Luckily I've got the media centre as well. It's at 44:22, if you're wondering. Anyway, we're about to go. Green flag running here in FIA Formula E. I wondered that's a clue that Formula 2 has just finished and they needed pictures.
Oh, great. ITVX literally just went to an ad break. I saw NATO crawling out the pits, get ready to go when the red flag ends, and then suddenly they went to ad break. So you can't get any luck than what I wanted.
I think that's a cue for us to hear back from Ben Edwards in the media centre, I think. So that's a good cue. But it is gone green. They've gone to the ad break at the wrong time. They really are, because it's green flag now. Okay, that is very odd. But since Ed can't see anything, I'm going to hand it back to Ben until we get pictures back again.
It's very kind of you.
Zane Maloney, Robin Freins and Norman Nato in the top 4. Then we have Nico Muller, Stoffel van Dorn, Pascal Wehrlein, the reigning champion, and Dan Ticktum in the bottom 4 at this stage. So let's see, we're also waiting for some others who didn't even set a time. Maximilian Günther, Mitch Evans, of course, who we rather doubt we're going to be seeing back out, and Eduardo Mortara, who didn't set a time either. So it really is all start again. Effectively, this Group B is now going to be a 7-minute session rather than a 12-minute session, because I'm sure this is all going to change. But this is the opportunity now. You're looking at Pascal Wehrlein, so he's in the drop zone at the moment, but he hasn't put together a lap just yet, and we are expecting him to be fast. You're watching Nick de Vries keeping an eye on everybody. He races for the Mahindra team, and we'll see how that goes. And meanwhile, a little wait in the pits for the man who's fastest so far, Taylor Barnard, just waiting before going out on circuit. Edo Mortara, who the man who has taken 3 pole positions in his career so far. The last actually was in Berlin in 2023. He's led plenty of races, taken 6 victories, and this year he'll be coming up. He's nearly at the point of going to 100 starts in Formula E. He'll be his 96th. Here in Sao Paulo, he's not actually had a good result as yet. Let's see if things can go a little bit better for him this weekend.
Yep. I think we found a better way to sync TV pictures now, because we both got the media centre. So Ed's got the media centre. We're trying to sync up pictures with each other. It's all confusing for us, but we're getting there. So well, sir, Josh sorts it out. But I might message Josh saying don't bother sorting it out. Focus on the F2 podium. I'll probably message him saying that. We've got TV pictures. We're all good, Josh. If you're watch this back. But yeah, anyway, we're seeing 4 minutes 55 seconds on the clock, and we've got Robin French just about to start his lap.
Yeah, indeed. I think I might be slightly behind you, if anything, Jess.
Oh,
but...
right, okay. Times two. I'm on 4 minute 40 at the moment.
I'm trying my best.
It's annoying how they you always start so behind, and it takes a while to sync it back up again.
My problem is it keeps buffering. It needs a bit of space to buffer. ITVX has come back. Okay, let's try that instead then.
Let us know what timing ITVX is in on as well.
4:26 at the moment, it says.
Oh, I'm wait. Tell me when you get into 4:10. Tell me when you get into 4:10, and I'll
5 seconds from now.
Tell me when to press go again on media center.
2, 1, 0. Okay.
There we go. There we go. That is live syncing on JB Motorsports.
Right, Wehrlein goes 4.8 tenths faster than Freins and is at the top of the table, 1:11.7, which I think is matching or maybe faster pace we saw at the top of Dennis was able to do in Group A as Mortara brushes the wall in his Mahindra. He went purple in the first sector as well, so Edo, like he said, he's really pushing. As long as I don't make a mistake, I can get into the duels, he said. Well, he's certainly pushing the limits in more ways than one.
I've just told Josh that you're not needed for pictures. Focus on F2, Josh, and getting F1 set up.
Yeah, exactly.
F1's the priority this weekend, and F2, get that, because I know Josh is very stressed at the moment, bless him. So I don't want him to, for this cause more chaos, sorting out pictures that we don't need. So yeah, Josh, if you're watching, focus on F2 and F1, as Wehrlein goes top.
P2 for Mortara. And
Mortara is P2, yeah, very good. 2/10 per second. Tictum goes third. Nato goes up. Lasso goes up to the line. He's ninth for the moment. He goes third. The times are going even quicker at the moment as Muller goes fifth.
Yeah, 16 thousandths behind Tictum as well. So those Porsche powertrains are really, really fighting out for the second slot. And of course, Tictum using the slightly older powertrain as well. Stoffel Van Dorn goes purple in the first. For Maserati has a bit of a, as it goes downhill towards turn 6, has a bit of a struggle sort of turning it in, but just about is able to do so. So these tyres, they've got good grip on the first lap, but thereafter, it really is like just trying to hold on, essentially, as we see Gunther go purple in the final sector, but only good enough to get the DS car up to 7th, as Van Dorn's coming through the final corner now.
Van Dorn, he needs to look good around this track, really. Up to the line, he goes third. 3/10, so the track's improving. Robin Frighty's personal best sector 1. Sector 2 has not been good at all, so he's got to have a miraculous final sector in order to make it through to the next stage of this qualifying session. Very unique qualifying session, goes 6th fastest. Pascal Wehrlein, our current session topper, right now goes through sector 2, and he's not improving so far, but
he's improving a little bit.
He's improving a little bit. There we go. So not So he's 3/100ths quicker as previous best. His sector 1 helped there, even though he was down on sector 2.
Yeah, and you see, look at the gaps. Tictum 6 thousandths behind NATO, and then Frein 7 thousandths behind Tictum. So it could be, for the first time in a long time, no Jaguar-powered car gets through the duels. Verline is a 10th of his best in the end, but it looks like that time he pumped him earlier is going to be more than enough to get him through here, as Mortara is still pushing. So that really shows you he's on a rich vein of form. Remember, he got pole last season at Berlin very unexpectedly for Mahindra. So he's been a real star in qualifying for the Indian team. And yeah, this could be a good season for them, of course. He's there for the long term, of course. This is sort of the second of a 3-year deal, I think, that he signed with that team. And De Vries, I think, is on a very similar deal as well. So let's see if Mortara can get anywhere close to Verline. 2 tenths behind. Can he narrow that gap? Doesn't look like he's going particularly quick at the moment.
And let's hear from Mortara's radio.
Not quite. He does a 112.1.
And Ben Edwards has talked over the radio.
Well, there's a reason for that. When we had Tom Brooks on the FEZ show, well, they're not told in advance when they're going to broadcast it.
Oh, right, okay. When is Tom?
See,
do you know when Tom's back?
Second race, whenever that is, which will be Mexico, I believe, as NATO. Oh, NATO, I think, lost a lap because he was dropped behind Tictum very briefly.
And Tictum lap time deleted as well.
And then NATO has gone up to third then. So, yeah, so he's easily gotten back through there. So Nissan's looking very, very strong here. In particular, the factory Nissan. McLaren don't seem to quite have the pace there. Taylor Barnard and Maloney have obviously yet to do their laps. I think they've only doing the 1 runs as checkered flag is out.
Checkered flag is out. Verline's in the pits. Muller is not going to improve. He is out then of qualifying. Barnard 9th fast at the moment with Goodver 8, but they're improving. So is Van Dorn. Here comes Maximilian Goodver and Taylor Barnard about to finish their laps. Barnard could not improve. He remains 9th. Goodver goes 3rd fastest, pushes Van Dorn out. Van Dorn's only got a few more corners to go. Is he in a bit of trouble? Up to the line. He is out by 7/100ths of a second. Robin Frein 7th at the moment. Can he do anything about it? Move up? Nope, he can't. It's only Dan Tictum, and I don't think Dan Tictum is going to be improving. So we've got Verline, Mortara, Goodver, and NATO through into the duels.
There we go. So Tictum abandoning that one. But it was very, very close between NATO, Van Dorn, and Tictum in the end. And Freins wasn't too far behind either. Disappointing for Muller, though. His teammate gets through in Group A, but in his first appearance for Andretti, he didn't quite nail qualifying. And Barnard and Maloney, the 2 rookies, sort of got a little bit compromised by the red flag there because they'd done their first push laps before the red flag. So that meant
they couldn't do any more.
Really go out. Yeah. But of course, for Zane Maloney in particular, he's talking about how they're developing that powertrain as much as he is obviously, being a race driver and trying to get as high up on the grid as you can. You see a replay of Mortara just bumping the wall out. I think that's turn 3 there.
Yeah, but looks like it, doesn't it? Let me know when ITVX go to an ad break, because I won't be able to see.
And he actually knocked over the camera, did Mortara?
Yep. As it had a little bit of a moment. It just went to Sao Paulo Pre just for a second there as well. But so next session then starts in 5 minutes with the first of our duels, which is going to be very, very, very exciting. So we'll go through who has made it through in just a moment, as we're seeing lovely views of Sao Paulo in Brazil. Of course, Lucas Di Grassi's home race, but Lucas Di Grassi did not do as well.
ITVX is going to an ad break.
Right, ITVX has just gone to an ad break. Okay, that's perfect timing to hand over to Ben Edwards.
Very soon. Jaguar have missed both stages, though. It's not worked out well for the Jaguar team, and we shall see how it all comes together for them. Looking through the city of Sao Paulo, this huge, massive city, the most populated city in all of the Americas. And we can see quite a few of those people in cars themselves on the main roads. But there we are, after Group B, we've got Pascal Wehrlein, Eduardo Mortara, Max Günther and Norman Nato into the top 4. Missing out, Stoffel Van Dorn, who's actually always been very front runner here in qualifying so far. Dan Tictum just missed out, having been in the top 4. Robin Freins, Nico Muller Taylor Barnard, who was quick earlier on, Dane Maloney and Mitch Evans, who didn't get a chance to show what he could do. And that does mean that Jaguar are not in quite the position that they were throughout most of last year. So we will see how that all develops, but we are seeing some changes, there's no doubt. Van Dorn having started on the front row the last 2 races here in Sao Paulo, that's not going to happen on this occasion. Let's just have a little look at some of the action that took place, some of the highlights that were going on, and it was very interesting, Andre, how there was this sort of mix of understanding in terms of how many laps you go out to get those tyres up to temperature, but they're learning a lot now.
Yeah, exactly. In the first group, I think they tried 3 attempts, but it was clear that the third attempt was not possible, and yeah, it's really about maximizing the peak of that new tire and getting the best out of it. And yeah, I think the pure example was Pascal Wehrlein and Jake Dennis. They tried to improve on the second attempt, but they were 10th off, at least for Pascal. So yeah, it's becoming difficult to put it together, because you can't afford a mistake, because you won't have a second shot. There's not that much left in the tire to go again. So that one lap has to be nailed.
Well, it's been a very good opening sequence for the Porsche team, and we're going to see if they battle for those poles in just a while.
Well, a very busy start to the first qualifying session of the season, and still so much to go in the Duels. And Katie, before we get into all the details, though, that is the first time we've seen them go out in these group stages. What did you make of it? We could hear the drivers on the team radio, all different run plans, all different strategies coming into it. It was a busy session.
Yeah, and I think that I actually really enjoy listening to the team radios, because there's a lot of different strategies out there, as you say, especially when sessions are interrupted. Things have to work really quickly with the engineers. But I think that we have to remember that was 300 kilowatts, so that was still rear-wheel drive, so similar to what they had last year. But I think the big difference, obviously, was the tyre and getting that in the window. And we know with Formula E qualifying, that is pretty much 90% of how they do a fast lap in qualifying.
And the driver that absolutely nailed it in Group 1 was Jake Dennis, even though he did come over the radio and say that was it, my tyres are done here. But he managed to get that flying lap out just when he needed to, and it stuck. So great to have Jake Dennis, and actually the Porsche drivers as well managed to get through. But a great way for Jake Dennis to start off this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his engineer saying, "Welcome back, mate," on the radio, it sums it up. I know that last year qualifying was the thing for him that he just couldn't get his head around. Getting into the Duels for him even was a challenge. So I think this gives him so much confidence. And he was fast on the 350 with 4-wheel drive, so he's got confidence going into the Duels now as well.
Now, unfortunately, both the Jag drivers out of those dual stages, including Nick Cassidy from Group 1. First time that both of the Jag drivers have been out for quite some time. They only did it once last season, I think. They're really strong and consistent in qualifying. But James is with Nick Cassidy now. Let's hear from them both.
Thanks. Thanks, Nikki. So I've had a little look through Nick Cassidy's lap. He was the person on the wrong side of a few fractions of a second. And you can see here, as he approaches turn 4 and turn 5, just on the exit here, it looks like it's all good. And then as we go slowly forwards, you can see he gets on the power way too hard, has a big snap of oversteer. And at this moment, I think he loses a little bit of confidence going through turn 6. And that looks like it could be, for me, where he might have lost those precious fractions of a second to get through to the Duels. Back to you, Nikki.
Thanks very much, James, for the details there. Let's talk about Mitch Evans. Oh, heartbreak. Not what you want to have at the start of your season, do you? I mean, there's obviously a technical issue with the brakes there. From your perspective, Katie, I mean, how much is that going to affect Mitch psychologically? You know, having lost out to that championship title fight in season 10, he's coming out fighting fit at the top, and it's not the way you want to start.
I know, and so early in the session, obviously he had some issues in practice as well, and they hadn't been able to get their head around what it was. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if the car's back yet. Obviously he couldn't continue in the laps, but he has to dig deep here, because you have to remember we all get so obsessed with pole at this point of the day in Formula E. Actually, this is a very difficult race to lead from the front. So although you don't want to be right at the back, it is possible now with the attack mode. People say to overtake maybe 3 cars with 1 attack mode. So if they can really try and nail their strategy, I think he can at least move quite high up the running order. He's a very talented driver. We've seen that plenty of times before.
Now, I'm going to say this is a bit of a surprise one, to see Edo Mortara in the Mahindra make it through, because there's been rumours about this Mahindra powertrain. We are very excited to see it. And, well, the rumours, it looked like, are true.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's been so many developments. You know, teams turned upside down, new drivers, new team principals, new engineers throughout the off-season here. We knew from the pre-season testings there were rumblings that they had more to give and that they knew what they were doing. So it's really cool to see that. I think also for the rookies to be so close. I mean, Dan Tickton put in some great laps. They're just missed out, but as we say, it's kind of closer than ever now this year between all of the teams. So it'll be really interesting to see how they can all try and move up through the field, even if they didn't make the duels.
Well, exactly. This is where it's going to get very interesting, actually, in the race. How important is track position going to be? Well, let's hear from Dan Tickton, who put in a really sterling job in the group stages. How is he feeling?
I'm joined by Dan Tickton from Cupra Kiro. And Dan, you just missed out on the duels. Were you hoping to make it, or was it a bit of a stretch today with the new setup in the team?
Yeah, I haven't actually felt too comfortable yet. The car is very different to drive, like different to what I remember with my old car here a few months ago. So I haven't really felt like I'm in the window yet. Having said that, I feel like the lap I did there wasn't bad. I feel like if I nailed it, I could have done an 11.9, which is what I needed. So yeah, I think everyone will say they can improve a bit, but I think we're lacking pace a little bit on one lap pace at the moment. But yeah, so it's all right. I mean, you know, normally it would be time to basically go home in our old car, and now, you know, it's not. So we can fight in the race and it'll be good.
Well, actually, that is my question. How much can you fight now? Last year it was particularly peloton-y with everyone moving up and down. Do you expect the same or maybe slightly less this year?
Depends on the thermal aspect of this race. Like, I think that'll be quite a key thing with battery and tyres, so I think that'll affect how the race plays out. I think if that wasn't a factor, there would be quite a big peloton race because there's quite a lot of slipstreaming here, but I think because of those thermal factors, it'll come closer to like a linear race. So yeah, we'll see.
Brilliant. Best of luck, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexa. It's always good to hear that Dan has decided not to pack his bags and go home yet. But it is really promising, I think, for the Kiro guys. I mean, the fact that they have this Porsche powertrain, both the Porsches have got through to the duels. This is an exciting time for both Dan Tickton and David Beckham. David Beckham? Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? David Beckham. Anyway.
I've been waiting for that to happen all week. I thought I was going to be the first.
I've done it now. We've got it out there. David Beckham is not here in the paddock. David Beckham. But it is just a really exciting time because they have had some real struggles over the last few years.
They have, and they're doing things quite unconventionally. I love it. You know, they're changing the name at the last minute. They were quite late to announce their drivers this year, but there's a nice energy there now. I think everybody's been really renewed, and they really feel, well, the timing speaks for themselves. You know, to be up there, to be motivated is half the battle with a championship like this, where it's so tight. So I think we'll see big things from them this year.
Absolutely. Let's go to you, James, to unpick some more of these amazing laps.
Thank you, Nikki. So one of the other teams that have made a huge step forward today is Edo Mortara and his Mahindra team. We can see here just how close he went to the limit around his whole lap. He was fractions away, millimeters away, and even kissing walls as he got P2 in Group B. An amazing turnaround. The Mahindra team have been struggling a huge amount over the last 2 seasons, and they've made such a step forward with this Gen 3 Evo. They got to readdress their powertrain, and Edo is really chomping at the bit to maximize this lap. The way he ended it, sliding all the way out to the wall, absolutely stunning lap from him. I cannot wait to see what he is able to deliver in the duels.
Lovely. Thank you so much, James, for that. So, a few moments away before we are going into the duels. This sort of gap, I suppose, between the groups and the duel stages, what is the conversation going on in the garage between the driver?
Yeah, I think for the driver, you actually have to get into the mindset of driving a different car now. As Andre touched on it briefly in commentary, it's a much more V-style approach, because obviously you've got kind of more power, more traction coming out of the tighter corners. So
let's take a look at how the drivers are going to line up in the quarterfinals. So it's Oliver Rowland against previous season champ Antonio Felix da Costa, Jean-Eric Verne against Jake Dennis, 2 Formula E world champions, Max Günther against Mortara, Norman Nato against Pascal Wehrlein. I mean, that's just the caliber of drivers going through in the quarterfinals. It's right up there. Which one do you think you're most looking forward to seeing?
Oh, to be honest, I'm really excited to see Jake back up there. I'm not being biased towards Andretti, but I do think he really struggled last year in qualifying. He was very frustrated, so it's nice to see that. But I don't know. To be honest, it's so close. We couldn't call it. We were all trying to guess who was going to go where, and honestly, I think it's just about finding the right window with the tyre temperature. I mean, we saw at the end of the group stages, some drivers having to abort their laps because they'd got the wrong out push and cool down strategy. So this is slightly different now. It's game on for the race engineers to come up with a different strategy.
Well, shall we find out who's got it right and who hasn't? Let's go to commentary. Ben Edwards and Andre Lotterer.
Thanks, Nikki. We're about to get started then for the duels, and our first duels is Oliver Rowland versus Antonio Felix da Costa. Both of them have done very well in the duels before. Ed, who's your money to go through to the semi-finals on this one?
Oh, it's a tricky one. So I think Rowland is really, really good in qualifying. Da Costa is pretty good in qualifying at Sao Paulo specifically. It depends if the Porsche is better than the Nissan. Of course, Rowland won the last E-Prix we had in London. I remember being there, seeing it happen. Rowland's going out first is what I'm going to go volley Rowland.
Yep, here we go then. So the prediction, as voted on by you at home, oh, 50-50. It is an even split there. My money's on Antonio Felix da Costa because he has this sense of motivation on him. He did very well the last few races of last season. So my money's on him as well. But 50-50, as you probably just seen as well, the cars, the Lego cars as well. That's going to be a feature again this season when Ed's here. So Oliver Rowland is going out onto the circuit right now to do his outlap before he can go full guns a-blazing to start our quarterfinals, our first quarterfinals of 2025 Formula E season, even though we're not in 2025 yet.
Yeah, exactly. Just to differentiate it from the 2024 Sao Paulo E-Prix that we already did. But this will, of course, be the first time that we're going to see the four-wheel drive in action, especially in the corners. That's going to make a big, big difference with traction at the front as well. So keep your eyes out for that playing its part here, because this is going to be full power mode for the first time in these duels. So Rowland, of course, will be getting it first, and then it'll be Da Costa. But yeah, I think it was a 50-50 split from the audience vote, and it seems to be 50-50 split between you and me, Jess, as it would probably have to be.
Yeah, it could go either way. They're very strong drivers. So if you're brand new to Formula E, 350 kilowatts of power are set for these drivers who made it through into the duels. And we'll see they're the one who sets the fastest lap. We'll go through to the semi-finals. If they mess up, then that's it. As we're seeing Ollie Rowland make his way to start his first and only lap of the duels at the moment. And you can see the timings if you're watching in the TV pictures. 6 seconds in, and then obviously Da Costa will get his lap in at the moment. I have not had time to enable the radio because I want to focus on this lap time, but I'm almost certain he's been told to push. As it's a very short lap here around Sao Paulo, so no margin for error here. As the mini set is looking good for Da Costa thus far. I'm predicting it's going to be quite a close one because obviously the predictors anything else to go by.
I thought that was a bit premature, yeah, because it said Da Costa was 11,000
that's
ahead.
It must be the mini sector.
He barely started the lap as well.
Exactly.
It was just down the finish straight. So yeah, it must be very. But there we go. Looks like Rowland has pulled the 10 better. Da Costa has had a little bit of trouble just getting down the power down at 3, I think. There he is, just going through the chicane at 5 and 6.
Yep, Ollie Rowland's actually gaining a bit more time. So it looks like that your prediction might come true. As I always like to go bold in JB Motorsports, and me going bold is not going well. But here comes Ollie Rowland up to the line now. And Da Costa's catching. 1:10.0 for Da Costa, for Ollie Rowland, sorry. 8.1 of a second separating Rowland and Da Costa. He's got to have a miraculous final sector. Here he comes then, in towards the last corner. Is Da Costa gonna beat Ollie Rowland and make it through
No,
to
he
the next
isn't.
part? No. Ooh!
Oh, very close. What's that,
6/100 of a
600th of
second, but Ollie Rowland's through for Nissan.
Wow, yeah, so there we go. Oliver Rowland by the skin of his teeth makes it through and spares my blushes. But but yeah, that was quite a lap there. That really shows you the package that Nissan have got. They can go toe to toe in max power in qualifying against the best that Porsche have to offer there. So Da Costa only just fell short there, as we hear from Rowland.
Hang on.
Come on, bring that bending car to the semis.
Well, he's happy. He's through to the semi-finals. He has been a good qualifier last season as well. So and don't forget, he won the last race in the London E-Prix as well. So not really that surprising. Head-to-head, John O'Byrne and Jay Dennis, 3-1.
Did you say bring that bending car to the semis? Did Rowland?
No, I did say bending, but there we go. So
that was what Ollie said. Yeah.
Yeah. So John O'Byrne and Jay Dennis. 3-1, but we didn't see what the predictor vote was, but there we go. John O'Byrne starts his lap ahead.
Yeah, there we go. And Jev, you would think in theory would have the advantage here. He's got more recent Jules experience. He tends to be pretty solid. Not too many poles in the Gen 3 era, of course, but he does have one win to his name from Hyderabad in Season 9. Other than that, he's had a couple of podium finishes and such. Dennis, though, of course, Season 9 champion. And won a couple of races last year as well. But at the very, very start of the lap, seems to be advantage Verne. And we'll have to see. This is DS powertrain versus the Porsche in the back of the Andretti. You can see down the straights that Dennis has not just caught up, he's just started to pull ahead a little bit of Jev here. So Jake Dennis looking good.
We thought that the first lot of Jaws was close enough. It's even closer between the two, but John O'Byrne's found some time in the middle sector as they go through two bridges.
I'm not sure where you're getting that information, Jess, because it's showing Dennis now just over a tenth ahead.
It was close, but now it's increasing to Jake Dennis, as was said, as Ed was pointing out. Apologies about that. John O'Byrne up to the line, and it's not going to be the best of times for John O'Byrne. 10-4. Jake Dennis is 3 attempts up. He looks committed. He is the favourite to take pole for a reason, and he's found another 10th alone in the last sector. Jake Dennis is going to make it through to the semi-finals. Yes, he does. Jake Dennis, unsurprisingly, is through.
Yeah. What's a bit disconcerting is as they're crossing the line to finish their laps, the next semi-final or quarter-final, semi-final are coming out the pits as well on the exit. So it almost feels like they're about to crash into them a little bit, which is a little bit... obviously, they've got to compress the time schedule, but it's a good thing they keep them to the left-hand side of the track and not swerving to the right to celebrate or anything like that.
Yeah,
good work from Jake Dennis there. It really feels like he's back to the best that we saw at points last season and during most of Season 9 as well.
Yeah, Season 9 when he won the championship, of course, and he attacked that curve very well. I didn't think he'll take that much curve, but more than what I've seen everyone else do all morning. Maximilian Gunther, 71% of the vote between Edouard and Mortara. Quarterfinal 3. I'm gonna have to go agree with that one and go with Gunther to take this one. Ed, what's your thoughts?
Edo Mortara, because he got on pole in Berlin in a Mahindra, which I didn't think was possible. So Gunther, he did well to regroup in that group session, but this is going to be the big test here. Can he get that black and gold DS Penske into the semi-finals here?
Here we go then. Here comes Maximilian Gunther for his first race for Penske. Is about to start, just started his lap 20 seconds in, and Mortara is just about to start his lap as well. As the gap, we will pretty much keep an eye on the gap as Mortara goes through sector 1, because otherwise it's not really much for contest. Ooh, 4/100 of a second separating them now. This could be closer than we thought, but we saw the likes of Jake Dennis improve on his time in the middle set, and we saw the likes of obviously Oliver Rowland just look so much quicker on a lap overall. And now it's switched to Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther almost 3 tenths of a second ahead then. By the way, it's not his first time driving for Penske, because I hate to be that guy, but he did drive for them in Season 5 when he was a rookie. He did a couple of races.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
This is his first time in DS. This is his first time in DS
Penske. There we go. Got that right.
And look at this. He's pulling well clear of Mortara and showing that you are absolutely wrapped upon for him, Jess.
Yeah, I think I had to agree with Matt's with the predictor vote here, but Mortara, he's not going to give up. He goes up to the line. Nowhere near. Maximilian Goodvat is through to the semi-finals. So now that leaves NATO and Pasco Verline, as my media centre just froze for like a second there. But it's back now, thankfully. But yeah, Goodvat is through.
I had a freeze there as well. But yeah, the question now is, I think that's going to put both of our DS Penske's into the semis fighting against each other, Jess. So we'll have to see how they manage that one. But yes,
let's hear for Goodvat.
Delighted with that.
Okay. So good, mate. So just remember 120%.
The audio is not good on Media Centre at the moment. I'm tempted to give it a reset, but I'm worried I'm going to have to like do ×2 again. So you're just going to have to put up with it, I'm afraid. But
yeah,
very annoying. Hopefully it's all fixed, ready for the press conference later
we
on.
can reset at the same time if you wanted. But oh, and there, look how close Jev and Gunfer got as Gunfer was warming up from his lap, and that's Jev just finishing the lap that got him through.
Oh my God, that's how close the pit lane is. Oh God,
the pit exit is, yeah.
Pit exit, yeah, pit lane exit.
It was very lucky they didn't touch each other. You can see Phil Charles just going up next to Jay Penske, the team owner there, as we look at Nato and Verline about to start their laps. Surely this is Pascal Verline's to lose.
Yeah, I think I have to go with. I have to agree with you. I think Pascal Verline
or Norman.
Yeah, I think it's Pascal Verline that will probably top the Duels. So here we go then. I'm liking Pascal Verline's livery at the moment. Of course, won the championship in season 10 at really close fashion towards the last race of the season, which I missed due to it being clash with Formula Student. As Nato hit the wall there. Oh.
You got very close, clearly just pushing that a little bit too hard, and Verline just starting to eke ahead. And we'll probably see in the next split the impact of that wall hit, Jess. But yeah, Norman Nato certainly not leaving anything on the line on his return to Nissan.
Yeah. Here we go then, as Verline is around about a tenth quicker than Nato on his lap alone. Nato is catching though, but not by much. Up to the line, he's got to do a 110. Oh, 110. Oh, Verline's
this could
catching.
Be very close.
It's going to be very, very tight fight. Oh, Verline's hit the wall just a little bit. Who's going to be through? Verline is through to the semis.
Yeah, there we go. Pascal really had to hold his nerve there. There we go. So does that mean we've got Jake Dennis, the two DS Penske's, and Verline going through into the semis? So yeah,
champions in our midst as well. Two champions, recent champions from season 9 and season 10. Let's hear from Verline.
Good job. Whatever you need for the tire, reminder 120% full. So adjust pace based on what you feel you need for the tires.
Right, we have got some time between the Duels, the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. So I'm going to refresh the media centre, just so I can see to fix the audio.
I'll do the same.
Yeah. So I will leave it as it is. We'll see if the audio is something different. Hold on. Hang on. Why can't I hear anything?
Right, so it's going to be
audio
Roland
still rubbish.
versus Dennis, Gunfer Verline. Okay, so Roland did get through. I forgot he did beat DaCosta.
Yeah, Roland did. Yeah, that was my prediction, I think. But yeah, audio is still rubbish, unfortunately. So it's not our end, luckily, because
I think you might have just stole the prediction from me there, Jess, retroactively. But I'll let you have that one.
No, no, I had DaCosta. That was it. It was was Gunfer that I got. There we go.
All is resolved.
Always resolved as TNT go to an ad break, and so does ITV. So we will. Oh. Go on, media centre. I was about to throw to you.
Yep.
And it's now frozen.
It's stuck on a crowd shot for me. So
I wonder if it's having problems with loads of people trying to log on. It's for me one of those days with technical issues. So let me refresh again. Oh. Come on. There we go. I have got it. If it does interrupt, I will have to go back. But give me a second. I'll need to unmute that. But let's hand you back to the world feed. Apologies for the audio in advance. Again, not our fault.
You know, like Max so focused on warming up his tires, he didn't think that he will encounter Jeff there and didn't really look in the mirrors, and the team didn't inform him either, but that could have been a disaster, you know, like knock both cars out. It was close. Yeah,
you see that nervousness on the steering wheel, don't you? You know, when you've been in a race car and you're being squeezed, there's that little sort of shake on the wheel.
The only reason that Jeff stayed on the throttle and kept going is because he didn't knew that he would go through the duels or not. I mean, go win this duel or not. And he wanted to keep temperature in attacking the first corner for doing through his inlap.
Well, interesting. So we've got the semi-final starting in 5 minutes before they come back out to play. And a lot of discussion, a lot of talk about how they're going to make this work to best effect. And we shall see how this works. But it is going to be some good battles. Max Günther, that we're looking at the moment, who's joined the DS Penske team for this year. And this is an excellent start for him with the team, no doubt about it.
So who's your money on?
So we're getting ready for the semi-finals.
That was a silence.
Andre, you were just asking me who I thought might make it through in both the semi-finals, I suppose, because we were looking particularly at Maximilian Günther up against Pascal Wehrlein. It's a tough one. I think, in a way, I might go for Wehrlein because he's been showing a lot of pace with the Porsche so far this weekend, and he's still in very confident mode, having taken the title last year.
Yeah, Wehrlein is very good under pressure. He loves it. He loves qualifying, and but I would put my money on Jake Dennis. He's very confident, and he seemed very natural around the track. And yeah, I think my money is on him.
Great. Well, we shall see. We just saw Jean-Eric Verne in the pits at the moment, but just a few moments ago, he was talking to our very own Alexa.
There was a lot of celebrations in the garages when you made it into the duels. You seem really positive about it. How do you feel about the ultimate result there?
I mean, it's okay. I think we made a conscious choice about the tires to be in a better shape for the race, and I knew that it was going to be very hard to to go through in the duel. So I'm happy to start in the top 8. Now we're going to have to maximize it in the race.
Thank you so much.
And being in that top 8, we do believe is going to be even more crucial this year, perhaps, but we won't really know until we get into this first race of the new season with the four-wheel drive attack mode, perhaps giving them more opportunity. Rather fun to see these electric carts, which are alongside the track. I noticed those as I was walking around the circuit earlier, so that's nice. We've got another chance to catch up with another driver who has made it into the top 8, but hasn't quite made it through into the battle for pole position. And that is Antonio Felix da Costa, and he's talking to Alexa.
Antonio Felix da Costa, back in the duels after a pretty tough start to your qualifying sessions last year. Do you feel proud of the progress you've made with the team?
Yeah, 100%. I think, we've had a tricky 2 years, a lot of positives, but some negatives as well. And I think the way we've dealt with all of that stuff, it just united us, and there's a lot of trust both ways, I would say, starting this season, which feels good. And yeah, clean start to the year, strong free practice sessions into the duels. It's a shame we missed out on a couple of hundreds there, but we were in the mix, cars quick, so I can't complain.
And what was that Gen 3 Evo, the full attack mode quali lap like?
It's awesome. I mean, there's so many new variables for us. It's so fast on 350 kilowatts now and four-wheel drive. But it's awesome to drive. The tires are new, we're different. We're still trying to understand everything about this tire. I don't think we'll ever understand everything, but as much as we can. And yeah, potentially would have done a few things differently going into that quali, but yeah, learning process at the moment, but happy with where we are.
Thanks, Antonio.
Yep.
Right, so here we go. We're getting all ready for the all-important semi-finals.
Yes, we are, Ben, and we are back for the semi-finals. The first lot of semi-finals is about to commence as we're seeing. Well, it's hard to tell because they've got similar liveries, but we got the first semi-finals, Oliver Rowland versus Jake Dennis. And then the second semi-finals will be Maximilian Gunther versus Pascal Wehrlein. 4 very strong drivers that have qualified well before in Season 10. Jake Dennis, not so much last season, but obviously in his championship winning season in Season 9. But it's going to be a tough call on who I think is going to top each session. But we'll have to find out as the sun is really shining here in Sao Paulo. But first of all, it's Oliver Rowland versus Jake Dennis. And it is an overwhelmingly 68% for Jake Dennis. And I'm going to have to agree with this one. He's been looking strong all weekend, Ed.
Are you telling me that all... I guess the Nissan and the Andretti look a little similar. There's the blue stripe on the back of the Andretti. And also all the cherry blossom on the Nissan is also a big giveaway as well. They've actually done a really good job of distinguishing the cars as best they can this season. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Rowland again because he hasn't let me down so far. And he made that amazing double move for third at the end of the race last season that got overshadowed by Sam Bird making his own move for the win. Evans, of course. But yeah, I think Oliver Rowland in Nissan, he seems, after last year where he sort of missed out on the title because he was ill at the penultimate round in Portland and had to miss it. I think he seems really fired up to make good on that. And it's a all-British semi-final, Rowland versus Dennis, as you say.
Yeah, of course, Rowland doing well at the end of last season. He's looking to capitalise on that, but it's going to be a tough call. Someone asked in the chat where Lucas Di Grassi finished. I believe he was P7 in his group. So we start in near to the mid... The last
14th, 15th on the grid or something like that?
Yeah, 14th, 15th on the grid, ready for that. So not the best of starts for his first race and for his home Grand Prix, of course, but he's still got a chance to recover. Remember, we've seen in Formula E history people climb up from really high positions. Let's hear from Rowland.
It's quite tough to see on the GPS, but Dennis is braking a bit earlier, turn 4, by the way it looks, and then a bit more speed through 6.
So his engineer, of course, is telling Rowland where Jake is gaining time, and this could be quite crucial as he just starts his lap through as he heads towards turn number 1. It's going to be an uphill mountain to climb for Rowland to beat Dennis, but never say never. These two have come against each other before.
I
think
they have on track. I'm not sure they have in the Duels, Jess, but anyway, my stream is completely
my media
frozen.
center's gone again. Oh, there we go. It's back now. I bet you the audio's going to go knowing.
Yeah, but let's see, because I don't think the Nissan is that slow.
I'm going to have to refresh again, aren't I?
Right, right.
Here we go, let's refresh.
We could just look at the one on Discord.
There we go, my center's fixed itself again. There we go, I just had to do a bit of refreshing twice. Jake Dennis... Is catch-up. He's 2 temps down on Rowland. So maybe Rowland's tips from the engineers has helped. Here he comes then through the straight. Jake Dennis is catching just a little bit more, but here comes Oliver Rowland up towards the line. Is it going to be enough to get him through to the finals? Rowland with a 109.9, but can Jake Dennis do enough? He's 5/100ths catching on Oliver Rowland. He exits the final few corners.
Ooh.
Oh, he's lost a bit of time there through that part of the lap. What's it going to be for Jake Dennis? Is he going to make it through? Oh, 1,000th slower than Oliver Rowland. But Oliver Rowland is through to the finals. Josh, what have you missed? That's insane.
Doesn't really get much closer than that, does it? And again, Oliver Rowland, by even more of the skin of his teeth than the last time I backed him, has made it through to the final against Jake Dennis. So, one
of the big upsets. So, what would have happened if they didn't tell where Jake Dennis would have gained the time? I think Rowland would have been slower, but let's look at Rowland actually on his outboard shot. And actually, no, let's listen to the radio. Oh, wait, nope, I forgot to unmute it.
It was exceptional in turn 1 and 2, like he really sent it close to the wall.
They were speaking over him anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter then. Doesn't matter. But the second semi-final, who's going to go up against Rowland in the semi? It is Maximilian Gunther versus Wehrlein. 84% in Pascal Wehrlein's favour. But we've seen an upset in the first semi-final. that might mean we could see it in this semi-final. We'll have to wait and see. Gunther is just starting his lap through turn number 1 now, and Verline will be starting in just a second. Who's your money on, Ed? Is it going to be Verline or Gunther?
Probably got to be Pascal. I think Gunther historically has never quite gotten to the finals often enough. I don't think he's ever won a final either. The only one I can think of is him getting on the front row at Cape Town in season 9, and then he got beaten by Fenestras. Other than that, maybe Jakarta. I think he might have got a pole at Jakarta one year, maybe Tokyo last year as well. So maybe I'm playing him down a little bit here, but I think Pascal Verline, the form that he's on at the moment as the reigning champion, it's going to be difficult to beat, and it's proving that way at the moment. Look how much Gunther is really struggling in the braking zone there.
Yep, you can see obviously with Dennis and Roland, Verline just taking pretty much similar brakings compared to them, whereas obviously Gunther is struggling a little bit more. So here comes Gunther, a little bit of a slide there. So I think he lost about a 10th on that alone. We saw similar to quite a few drivers today. And there's a 1:10.3 from Gunther. Verline, as long as he can keep his lap clean, he should be safely through to the finals. And pretty much, I think, it's going to be the favourite to be on starting on pole. Is Verline going to be on the front row? Of course he is. Verline is going to be going up against Oliver Rowland in the finals.
Yeah, very similar time to Roland, though, as well, wasn't it? 1:09.9, I think, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah. 1:09. That is impressive. Oh, I think it's going to be an even closer final as well. Welcome to 2025 in Formula E, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get anything closer than that. The final duel will start in about 6 or 7 minutes, so enough time for all of you to get a cuppa, but let's hear from Verline. Let's not hear from Verline because we just cut the... Oh, wait a minute.
Good job, Mike. You're through in-lap procedure. In-lap procedure. You may want to consider stretching the in-lap to cool the tire.
Ooh.
That is a good tactic, I think.
Look at that celebration as he crossed the finish line as well. Just wobbling his head like a bobblehead.
I think he's doing the right thing. Yes, he's made it through to the final, but he's like, it's not that long to go until the finals then. So a little bit of a repeat of what to expect then. So semi-finals, Roland beat Dennis, Gunther beat Verline. All of them, apart from Gunther, managed to get into the 1:09s. I'm just trying to see. I think it will be, yes, it'll be Roland that'll be starting 3rd, and Gunther will be starting 4th on the grid. So
Dennis starting 3rd.
Yeah, Dennis starting 3rd, sorry, and Gunther starting 4th. So that's not bad for Dennis. Ed, he's won from 3rd before.
He certainly has. It's going to be tricky though, because missing out on those first 3 points of the season is definitely going to be a little bit of a blow for Dennis. But certainly he's got plenty of opportunity to make it back in the race. It really depends how the Andretti car deals with some of the temperatures that we might get in Sao Paulo. What the weather's going to be like come the race. It looks like it's going to be nice and hot. But yeah, it's either going to be Roland or Verline getting the first pole in the first 3 points of the season. And
yes.
Certainly Pascal's probably got the slightly quicker package in the Porsche, but Roland is just maximizing that Nissan at the moment. You can tell he's going to take every risk to go for pole position, and that is one of the things we love about Ollie Roland.
Yeah, Oliver Roland just always never fails to surprise us. We think, nope, he's not going to get it, and turns out that he just finds a few attempts out of nowhere, which is very impressive. He could pull off a surprise today against the 2024 champion of Pascal Verline. That is a really tough driver to go up against, but obviously we'll have to wait and see as they go forward. I know TNT is still, I think they're about to go to an ad break actually, so we will head down to Ben Edwards and the rest of the team at Formula E.
Tyres, I know they are very, they're effectively a road tyre in many ways, they're not super soft, but when you do all stages of qualifying, in that you do, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and you're in the battle for pole, up against people who start from 9th place who only did the groups, how is the tyre compared? Because your tyre, if you do all qualifying and get to pole, has done a lot more laps.
Yeah, especially this year, that might be an aspect where you have a bit more mileage on the tire, and actually hard mileage, they're pushing the tires to the limit. It was not an issue last year because the degradation of the tire was a lot more stable, and you could actually almost not wear the tire that hard it was. And now it's a bit different. So we'll find out in the race, I guess, what the disadvantage would be. But I don't think it's so big, but you know, there might be a bit of a disadvantage if you keep pushing your tire through the quali duels till the end for the race.
Okay, well that's interesting to know. And James, when you've been a team principal and you're running a team in temperatures like this, that can be quite a challenge. We've got some very high temperatures here in Sao Paulo. We're in December in Sao Paulo in Brazil, beautiful part of the world, as you can see from these lovely helicopter shots as we head around this amazing area. But that heat not only affects tyres, but it actually affects the electric power, doesn't it, to a certain extent?
I mean, it affects everything, even, you know, all your personnel. Hydration is key, as you know, Ben. So no, you have to make sure that everything is prepared. We know well in advance that we were coming somewhere very hot, so all the guys have prepared the systems. Not only that, but the drivers also themselves. I mean, they're sitting in the car now for 5 minutes in between the semis and the final, cooking. Let's not underestimate how hot it is sat in a racing car with all your fireproof suit on, with your helmet, with the balaclava, with the gloves, and trying to stay focused, trying to stay absolutely in the zone to nail this final lap. It's hugely challenging.
Okay, well, that's very, very, very interesting. Just as a comparison, Andre, you've driven so many different single-seaters over the years. The heat created by electric power when you're sitting in that car and in the pits, compared to the heat created by a combustion engine, how different is that?
It's actually no difference. In an open wheel car, you don't feel the heat at all. It's really down to the weather conditions, and the most difficult is when it's, of course, when it's hot but humid. The humidity is really a killer for the drivers, so need a bit of air.
So let's, we're just seeing here a lap from Pascal Wehrlein, who has gone through this impressive performance, as he will be chasing for pole. But we've got an opportunity to hear from Jake Dennis. Let's hear from him.
Jake, 1,000th of a second, that must be tough.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. It was a bit of a compromised run just because I thought I had a puncture through T6. Like the car just didn't turn at all. And I looked at my T display and my left front was well out the working window, but the dash malfunctioned for 4 or 5 seconds when I was looking at it. So I was way too slow through T7, and then it was enough to obviously get knocked out. But I mean, yeah, big turnaround from how we ended last season. So. Not too unhappy starting P3, but yeah, I just felt like we definitely had one of the quickest cars today, and I sort of got let down by all the numbers on my dash.
Not to mention perhaps the most brutal stat you had against your name, that was 6 races in a row, the longest streak without a Jules appearance. How much better did it feel in qualifying this year compared to last?
Yeah, it's a different car. I don't know what happened at the end of last year. All the software is very similar to how I finished in London, and a lap in London was good. My lap here was good, and I'm now starting third, and London started last. So really strange behaviour end of last year, but you know, that's in the past, and we're now looking forward and starting P3, and it's a race which we can definitely try and win.
Best of luck, Jake.
Thank you very much, as we're about to kick the grand finals of the ABB Formula E World Championship qualifying in Sao Paulo. I didn't see what they just said in terms of facts, but I think it'll appear delayed very soon, very well. So it's Oliver Rowland in a Nissan versus Pascal Wehrlein in the Porsche, ready to do battle on who's going to reign supreme here today and take pole position for the very first race of the 24 to 2025 World Championship for season 11. Time has flown so quickly. Before the predictor results come up, Ed, who's your pick a pole?
The fact that popped up on screen said that last year pole was decided by 2,000ths of a second. So there we go. Head to head, it's 1-1 between Rowland and Wehrlein, and I've got to go with Wehrlein because he was faster in the group stages. He was faster than Rowland in the semi-finals as well, so and the quarterfinals too. So it's difficult to look to bet against him, and he's going second as well. So he's certainly going to be. It's going to be Roland that's got all the pressure on him to pull something out of the bag here, whereas Pascal Wehrlein knows he's got everything he needs underneath him.
Green flag is on then, as we're about to get cracking for the grand finals. Oliver Roland has got a lot of pressures on his shoulder, but he's handled that much pressure before with Jake Dennis. Here comes Pascal Wehrlein as he's waiting for the green light to go, and there he goes as he goes out of the pit lane as well. Surely they'll be told different things from their race engineer of what they need to do to handle this lap. Our pick was for Pascal Wehrlein. What was your pick in the chat? Let us know. Formula 1 is going on at the same time as well with their Abu Dhabi qualifying, but no spoilers here. If anyone spoils in the chat on what's going on, we will happily time you out. Unfortunately, no spoilers in Formula E. We don't want to know what happens until we get into the box for that very soon.
I hated that when we went to London because that was the same weekend as Hungary, and so there were people shouting that Oscar Piastri had won his first Grand Prix when we were waiting for the race to start there. But yeah,
yeah, that wasn't helpful. But I remember on the Saturday I was watching on my phone because I had and there was some weird things that happened, and I was like, "What's going on? What the?" I'm not going to say a swear word because this is a media outlet now for Formula E. But here we come then. Oliver Roland is kickstarting his lap around this Sao Paulo circuit. This could be make or break for him, as could he get the first pole of 2024-2025. Not the best of turn number ones, but we'll see how Pascal Wehrlein will challenge that part of the track very, very soon as he just started his lap. The wind quite blusty right now at the moment. Wehrlein has just started, Ed.
Yeah, it looked like Roland was really checking in and seeing if he can make it stick. But there goes Wehrlein. Oh, very, very close to the wall at turn 2 as he lines it up for turn 3. Looking a little bit more neat, tidy, composed from Pascal Wehrlein, whereas Oliver Roland looks a little bit more on the ragged edge. And so far, it's working for him. He's nearly 2/10 to the good then. So Wehrlein has got a lot of work to do, but we've seen him do this before, Jess.
We've seen him do well in the final sector. That's where he gained all that time. But we will see. Wehrlein is catching. He's gained quite a bit in that mini sector there alone. Not that long to go until the final. Oh! That's probably lost him a lot of time there. There's Oliver Roland.
Yeah.
It was like a Tokyo drift there. 2,000 of a second. That would have cost him time there. But here comes Pascal Wehrlein. He knows that he could gain some time. He saw, probably his race engineer probably told him that Roland lost a bit of time through this section. And Wehrlein took it perfectly. Wehrlein up to the line. Can we see the first pole from him in season 11? Yes, it is, by less than a tenth of a second. Pascal Wehrlein is on pole.
Exceptional. Pascal really had to keep his head. I thought in the first 2 sectors, especially when he went through the chicane at 5 and 6, I thought always he's gone a little bit really far over the curve there, and maybe that's hurt his momentum, but he actually pulled that off. Roland, full credit to him, just absolutely blitzed it and went for it and just hoped that he could hold on, the time would come to him. But you can tell there, this happened because Wehrlein followed the advice of his engineers, planned ahead, cooled down his tyres, and I'm not sure Nissan did the same thing there.
Yep, let's hear for Pascal Wehrlein.
Yes! Woohoo! Good job, mate. Focus on your in-lap procedure. Focus on the procedure. 100. 1/10, sorry, 1/10.
I was going to say...
It nearly gave Pascal a heart attack there.
Yeah, it's not 1,000. It's not 10,000. Bloody hell, it's almost a 99,000.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really, really strong pole lap from Pascal Wehrlein. We saw quite a few of them last year as well. And yeah, he's really starting the season as he intends to go on. And Porsche looks still, obviously we've had some changes in the Gen 3 era, but Porsche, through a lot of bitter experience, has sort of learned just to be really, really careful and always double check everything. So I hope Pascal gets to keep his pole, fingers crossed. And usually he does. So Porsche increasingly have been a team that's been on top of things, and they're still surprisingly looking for that first teams championship as well. So I'll have to see how the race goes in a few hours' time. But that was a really, really entertaining qualifying session, I think. Pretty much at every stage, we had some really, really close battles. And it wasn't quite certain who was going to triumph right until the final 2 corners there. I think you were right, Jess. Roland sliding there. And it was a little bit in...
It was a little bit in sector 2 as well that he lost time.
That was when Verline really caught up, because he was nearly 2 tenths down, and then all of a sudden he caught up 1.5 tenths essentially. Let's say replay of we can see a replay of Roland in the first few corners and some radio.
Yeah, the last few corners I was overdriving.
I called it. It was the final 2 corners, but turn 1 was a bit bumpy at times, but you could say he was trying to gain all the momentum he can just to get the lap in, which worked up until this point. Let's look at the slide.
Cameraman getting ready for Verline there.
Yeah, he was getting ready for Verline. But surely Oliver Roland will be disappointed. But even before that, that was still pretty good up until that point. So he could have his head held high for that one. The race will start in a few hours, of course. So he's got plenty of time to reset, get his mind focused, ready for the race. But of course, he has to respond to the media first, but we will hear from our pole sitter very, very shortly as he gets handed the pole sitters thing at some point. But
we don't have a trophy. We just give them a thing, Jess. Just any old thing on the ground.
It's a trophy. I apologise. It's been a while since we've done Formula E. One of the best qualifying formats in motorsport, in my opinion, because you never know who's going to get pole until the very end, right at the death. And
it works very well for Formula E specifically at street circuits where you don't want too many people running on track at the same time. You want to make it fair.
And it's little margin for error in terms of getting into the wall or out of the wall, just like we've seen here today in Sao Paulo. As we're seeing
Roland's car being feeling disappointed. I don't think he would feel disappointed, because I think it was a little bit sort of missing out on pole, but still starting second on the grid. There was no reason in the final not to give it absolutely everything.
Oh, no live streams. We've got no audio.
Oh, great. Right, let's see what ITVX have got. I think there might be... What they sometimes do is they put the post session on YouTube. But yeah, TNT Sports is still going. Where's my ITVX?
I've got my ITVX as well, but it's a little bit behind.
Yeah,
I just hope they don't go to an ad break. If they do, we'll have to wrap it up early. But if they don't, we will hear from Pascal Verline.
Yeah, I think TNT Sports, the stream from Megan, is slightly ahead then.
Yes. Actually, because Pascal Verline is being congratulated by his team right now. So yeah, ITVX is slightly ahead. My browser.
Okay. All right, I better refresh ITVX then.
Yeah. that is annoying that they cut us off halfway through, but sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, there.
As I could hear, the wind is getting very strong in my house as well. As I think oh, are we about to go to interview? Hopefully. Instead of waiting.
Is it Storm Darafaka going on at the moment?
Yeah, Storm Dara is going in the background, yeah. But whilst I think, let's head to the world feed whilst we wait for the interviews. And if they do go back to an ad break, then we'll come back. But yeah, let's hear from Pascal Verline.
On taking the first pole position of season 11. Can you just talk us through your lap and your mindset going into the final duel?
Yeah, all or nothing really. I almost messed it up in turn 1. Went a bit wide and lost a bit of time there, but the other corners were all pretty good. So happy with the lap apart from turn 1.
And how confident are you that you can convert this pole position into a strong race result here? And what will be your main focus going into the race?
I think the race is going to be quite difficult on energy. Also, the temperature is super hot, so will be challenging for the car and for us. Yeah, but looking forward to the race. For sure, it will be a peloton style initially, and then let's see how it turns out with the attack mode, 4-wheel drive, and so on. Looking forward to that.
As you say, there's a lot of new features this year. How hard is it being for your engineers to predict how to manage that? Yes, it's one thing in qualifying, but actually the race strategy is completely different.
Yeah, first of all, the whole team has done an incredible job. You know, the car is quite different compared to last year, and also with the tires and so on. A lot of things have changed, but it feels like we got on top of everything, and yeah, looking forward to the race, because in the past we used to be very strong in the races as well.
Amazing. It's time to present you with the Julius Baer pole position trophy. We have Castord Safari, who is the trophy designer.
Doesn't matter, no? This side?
Well, many congratulations as he takes the Julius Baer trophy for pole position, just as he did here last year, in fact, as well. This Sao Paulo circuit really does suit him, so he's taken back-to-back pole positions. And,
this is dangerous, I almost...
when I say last year, of course, it was in March of this year, and I say last year, I mean last season. But a lovely effort from him. A very, very good performance from Pascal Wehrlein, and a great battle throughout the whole qualifying session. Lots to have enjoyed and look forward to. Let's go back down to the paddock.
Yep, indeed. We're about to wrap up things on JB Motorsports the ABB Formula E World Championship by FIA, of course. And it was a very, very close qualifying, and we got some great action later on in the race. What's your take on the race now going into turn one? Of course, we've got Audi Rolling Star on the front row, Wehrlein on pole. We know Dennis and Gunther are going to go for it. We've got some big hitters like Sam Bird starting at the back. It should be interesting, shouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly. We got to hope that it was a bad session for Jaguar. So Mitch Evans, let's hope he can actually get into the race and they can fix whatever was wrong with the emergency brake system at the rear. But Nick Cassidy just missing out on the duels, starting in 9th or 10th, I believe. He will be one to watch out for because he is very good. This is going to be a Peloton-style race, and it's the sort of race that Cassidy absolutely excels at. Cassidy hit the wall, lost a wheel effectively in a crash last season, so he'll be hoping to make good on that. But yeah, Roland, Wehrlein, Dennis from up front, they'll be hoping to try and control the race, but most likely we're going to see a couple of people shoot their way to the front early on as everyone's trying to save energy. So it's going to be difficult to predict, but hopefully not as much as a Peloton as we saw at circuits like Misano, because there are, of course, walls here, and track position still matters, especially at the end of the race. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of everyone saving energy, and then there'll be a moment where it gets a bit crazy, especially if there's a late safety car.
Yep. There could be safety cars galore here on the Formula E Championship, but we are going to wrap up now and let you enjoy the Formula One qualifying as we're about to get going for, well, they're just finishing Q1 now, so we'll find out who's been eliminated. But you can join us for the build-up for the first round of the championship at around 4:30, but it may change due to F1 Academy, so make sure you keep informed on JB Motorsport as to when we go live, with the race starting at 5 p.m. UK time with Josh and Ed and myself on the commentary, and you'll find the final grid order here as well. Thank you for watching, and we will redirect you straight to the F1 so you won't miss a beat. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and bye-bye.